What if I started approaching my healing as something wasn't wrong with me, something was right with me? And when I learned to make anxiety my ally, I don't have anxiety because something's wrong with me. I have anxiety because my body is trying to communicate that I just participated in something that does not agree with me. I had had a lot of, I dare say brainwashing, right? So I had to figure out what were my thoughts and what were thoughts that I had learned to think were mine. And in a weird way, that's all anxiety and trauma is, right? We learn to have thoughts that make us sick. We start to engage in activities that make us sick, and our anxiety is our body's way, like a car alarm of saying somebody's trying to break in, or if you eat bad fish and you throw up, your body's way of saying don't eat bad fish again. Anxiety was like my best friend. And when I learned to make it my best friend so that when I had it, I went, wait, what was I just thinking? And I would write it down. And I would go, am I willing to stop engaging in that thought? And what thought would I replace it with? I had my own map. I had my own map to my own healing, to my own authenticity, because my anxiety let me know when I was participating in something inauthentic.
It's MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you, because she knows a thing or two. So now she's gonna break down. It's a breakdown. She's gonna break it down.
MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown is supported by Rabbit Air. So I'm one of these people who didn't know that I didn't have to have allergy problems all the time. And the thing that helped me realize that I don't have to live like that is, no joke, my Rabbit Air purifier. This is one of the new models they have, and there's different patterns, and this is the one that I chose. And my kids also use them. It's literally the difference between waking up and needing to blow your nose all the time and not having to do that at all. So every day, we breathe in nearly 2,000 gallons of air. Decades of research have shown that air pollutants increase the amount of seriousness of lung and heart disease and other health problems. Rabbit Air's award-winning air purifiers are some of the best in the industry. They have 6-stage HEPA filtration that can trap micron-sized particles like PM 2.5 to keep your air clean. And it really, really works. And my nose is a testament to that. The air purifier is highly customizable, interchangeable faceplate design, wall mount, floor stand. I'm gonna mount this one on the wall. And 4 custom filtration options like germ defense filter, toxin absorber for VOCs. Comes with unique features like laser particle sensing, mobile app, and ultra quiet design, which is a real thing. Please join the revolution. Visit rabbitair.com. That's RABBITAIR.com, or call them 24/7 to speak with a Rabbit Air consultant. Yay!
We're doing something we've never done before, which is revisit an amazing episode. There was so much wisdom in this episode.
So many sound bites, as Jonathan calls them.
We made it so easy to re-listen to this episode. You don't have an hour? No problem. We've cut out all the best moments from our interview with
multi-platinum recording artist and mental health advocate Jewel.
And if they don't know who Jewel is,
my hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own.
And if I skip to the next,
am I standing still, neath the darkened sky?
And if I still didn't,
who will save your soul?
Everyone needs their soul saved, and that everyone knows because she sold 100 million plus albums. I think that's true. No one's fact-checking me.
She's absolutely unbelievable, and our conversation with her was so incredible that I didn't even want to listen to us. So this is a super easy way to hear what Jewel had to say, but all of it together, all of her wisdom, her lifelong spiritual relationship with nature, the way that she journeyed from really a person searching to a person finding, and a person who then has taken this to help so many people all over the world.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this woman channeled some knowledge, some universal wisdom, and taught herself how to be okay.
She's absolutely unbelievable. We are so excited to distill this all down into this very special breakdown. We hope that you enjoy the best moments of Jewel, and make sure to tune in on Tuesday for a brand new full episode of MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown.
Break it down.
I moved out when I was 15. I was in a lot of pain, and I saw a lot of people in pain. I was able to see that nobody outruns pain. I'm a really visual person. So when I was singing in the bars, it looked like there was some kind of seed of pain, and nobody made pearls. Everybody piled more pain on top of it, drinking or relationships or things to distract them from the pain. And the buffalo is the only animal to go directly into the storm because the quickest way was through. And so I remember making a vow to myself that I would try to move into the pain instead of pile more pain on. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't really know how to do it. Statistically, kids like me end up repeating the cycle. And if there was any hope of me not repeating the cycle, I had to have some kind of plan. I could see that I had a physical inheritance, like a genetic inheritance that might predispose me to diabetes. But I also had this emotional inheritance, and it would predispose me to abuse and addiction, basically. Because I was able to look back through generations and see that is the outcome. And so I really puzzled over, where do I go to learn a new emotional language? And there was nowhere that I'd ever heard of going. You could go to college to learn Spanish, but there was nowhere to learn a new way of relating to myself, to pain, to conflict, to other people. It's such a complex language, right? Our emotional language is robust. It's a million data points of trust and suspicion and so many things that form you and form your personality. That was obviously pretty daunting. And so again, as I sort of puzzled over this of like, how do I have any hope that I could become successful, meaning happy as a human? What I started to kind of focus on was this idea of nature versus nurture. And if my nurture was bad, right, the emotional language that I inherited, my emotional environment, if it was really bad, would I ever get to know my nature? And could you sort of lift the skin of nurture to get to know nature? Will I ever get to know my personality because I've had so much trauma? And so I set off on a very messy mission to try and figure that out.
MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown is supported by Jenni Kayne. Think minimalist meets luxury. Jenni Kayne items are classic, comfortable, and California-inspired clothes. From the knit sweater you're obsessed with to the flowy summer dress that you never want to take off. With elevated everyday basics and wardrobe essentials, getting dressed is easier than ever before, and also fun. When it comes to investing in an outfit that'll last, we choose Jenni Kayne. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their entire order. Go to jennikayne.com. Use the code BREAKDOWN to get 15% off. We love the aesthetic of Jenni Kayne clothing. I like that it's simple, but also distinctive. Every piece is comfortable. Jonathan, of course, is obsessed with their hoodies, never wants to take their hoodies off. And our producer, Valerie, is living in the vintage pocket tee, and we're starting to worry about her because she doesn't want to take it off. Have you seen their site? It's aesthetically pleasing, minimalistic. It's like a California dream. No matter the season, their dresses are the it item, and you will get compliments. Beware. Jenni Kayne is known for their staple cotton sweaters, from their best-selling cotton cocoon cardigan, the luxe cotton fisherman sweater, which I love, or the perfect for summer Chloe crew neck. Jenni Kayne believes in one thing, the art of simplicity. With a focus on comfort, quality, and timeless design, Jenni Kayne makes pieces that really do not go out of style. Simple, stylish, cozy, and chic. Jenni Kayne is the modern minimalistic style that makes you feel as good as you look, whether you're dressing for work, errands, or a night on the town. Jenni Kayne is our go-to for effortless everyday outfitting. Find your forever pieces at jennikayne.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use the code BREAKDOWN at checkout. That's 15% off your first order, JENNIKAYNE.com, promo code BREAKDOWN. The brand go-to for all season staples. Treat yourself, because you deserve it. MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown is supported by Athletic Greens. I use Athletic Greens literally every day. Why every day? Because I need to take care of myself every day. I need to fill in all those gaps in my diet. And because I'm such a high-stress person, my schedule is crazy, it's extra special important for me to have the best gut health I can, to sleep better, to have my energy balanced, and to have my immune system completely armed for everything it needs to do to take on a very busy life. What's Athletic Greens? Well, it's 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens all in one scoop. Helps you start your day right. It supports gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, energy, recovery, focus. It really, really handles everything. It's lifestyle friendly. That's one of the best things about it. Whether you're eating vegan, maybe you're just dairy-free, you're gluten-free, keto, paleo, it's got less than 1 gram of sugar. Also, for those of us who are worried about this stuff, no GMOs, no chemicals, no artificial special anything. And yes, it tastes good. It's a small habit with big benefits. It's something that you know you can do every day that helps you take good care of yourself. Right now, I am encouraging you to reclaim your health and get your immune system strong with convenient daily nutrition. Every single day, you just put 1 scoop in a cup of water, and that's it. You don't need a million different pills and supplements in order to make your health a priority. Also, Athletic Greens wants to make everything so easy for you. They're going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, which is great for your immune system, and 5 free travel packs when you purchase for the first time. Go to athleticgreens.com/breakdown. Again, athleticgreens.com/breakdown. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Plans made me feel better. Plans made me feel like there was something actionable, an architecture to cling to, because the type of terror that I was feeling was so overwhelming. Maybe the ladder out of my misery, because I was miserable, maybe that ladder out is through curiosity and through learning. And so I clung to that. Is happiness a learnable skill? Is it a teachable skill? Happiness is a side effect. It's the side effect of choices. Choices are the side effect of motivations, and motivations are rarely examined. I kind of understood that chain of emotional or mental events, but life was so overwhelming. I know I was starting to have panic attacks. I started to have bad kidneys. It was messy. Finally, I ended up homeless, which for me was another, massive transition. Stealing for me was a really loving act. It's how I soothed my anxiety. It made me feel like I was in control. It was, oddly one of the most loving things I knew how to do for myself. I think it's easy to sort of see, what that is and was for me. When I became homeless, obviously it hit a new gear. I would end up in jail or dead if I didn't turn my life around. I remembered this quote that had been attributed to Buddha that said, happiness does not depend on who you are or what you have. It depends on what you think. And so I wanted to see if I could turn my life around one thought at a time. And was that really true? I had the strange privilege of being stripped of every single thing but my thoughts. I had ended up homeless because I wouldn't have sex with the boss. Started living in my car, then my car got stolen. And it was just this really crazy, vicious poverty cycle I never thought I'd find myself in. I didn't know the word disassociation at the time, but I was so disassociative, I couldn't witness my thoughts in real time. So I decided that, your hands might be the servants of your thoughts. So if you want to know what you're thinking, watch what your hands are doing, because it's your thoughts slowed down into actions. My huge life plan was to write down everything my hands did for 2 weeks and then see if I could see a pattern. Writing it always really helped me. It was sort of my little way of being an emotional scientist and seeing how I was doing. So I took notes on everything my hands did. I literally was writing down, like, I washed my hands. I did not wash my hands. I shook a hand. I did not shake a hand. I had no idea what I was doing. At the end of 2 weeks, I sat down to see if I could notice any patterns. And there were some, not that interesting things. I realized all at once that I had not had a panic attack in 2 weeks. It was like a random side effect, of like glaucoma medication makes your eyelashes grow. It was like, what in the hell caused me to not have panic attacks for 2 weeks? Mindfulness wasn't even a term at the time, but I basically stumbled on presence. And it was the catalyst for a year of discovery that has still reaped tremendous rewards. I was able to get back in touch with what I call the observer. Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. I would adjust that ever so humbly to say, I perceive what I think, therefore I am, because we're not our thoughts. And if we over-identify with our thoughts, we're susceptible to the ups and downs of a very whimsical and often painful cycle. If I could observe I was sad, I was something other than sad. I was the observer of it. And if I could observe I was happy, I was something other than happy. I was the observer of it. And I knew instantly that was a very powerful thing. And my writing put me in a position as an observer. I could definitely look back at my writing through a young age. And whenever I sat back and observed and grew curious, I saw patterns. I call it your greater sense of intelligence. I was able to tap into things or understand patterns that don't make sense to know. It suddenly dawned on me, that thought of nature versus nurture. If I wanted to lift the psychological skin of nurture, you can do that through observation, through curiosity. and develop a relationship with the observer, like a cocoon. Imagine like a butterfly chrysalis. And we constantly are in a relationship with the wrapping, thinking that's who we are. It's like an orange thinking it's its peel. I realized that a lot of my obsession, hypervigilance, worry, fear, etc., was all just sort of me obsessing over a personality that I had begun to wrap myself in, but it wasn't actually who I was. And that I needed to spend a lot more time getting familiar with and exploring who I was inside of that. I realized like you can have a thought and then create a gap as you observe it, but it won't change your life. I realized meditation wouldn't change my life. You have to have action because we live in a world of action. It's sort of like my body was a car. My brain is not the driver, but it will go on autopilot. It will act on a neurological autopilot, and I will repeat all the stuff I don't want to repeat because I'm on this sort of neurological autopilot. Getting present is like taking your car off of autopilot and becoming in neutral. The problem is neutral won't change your life. You have to put it in a gear, and that's going to take new tools. It's going to mean acting in a different way today than you did yesterday, and then seeing what the result of that is. Did you like that result? If you didn't, how would you adjust that? Now, can you act in a different way that day than you did the day before? Our body only has two basic states of being, dilated and contracted. I realized I could reduce every single thought, feeling, or action as to leading to my system being open, relaxed, I'll call that dilated, or tight, anxious, and I'm going to call that contracted. Writing relaxed me, and I did not find that biochemically rewarding. And I was addicted to contracted states. All the stuff I did all day long was getting my system constantly stimulating these contracted, anxious states. So for a month, I began to write down, I had a header of dilation and a header of contraction. I had to cultivate a lot of presence. But every time I noticed my body was relaxed, I'd write down, what was I thinking, feeling, or doing? Every time I was tight and anxious, I would write down, what was I thinking, feeling, or doing? And after about a month, I had a roadmap to my nervous systems. I didn't know that at the time, but I knew I had a roadmap to these two states. The things that helped me relax and open were walking in nature, writing, reading, learning, exercise, sleep. Thoughts like, I'll figure it out. The ones that contracted me were very predictable. Not sleeping, isolating, being cruel to myself, very specific thoughts that I had on loop. And then I realized you can't be in two states at once. It's impossible. And so I started to learn how to hack my way out of a contracted state by participating on something off of my dilated list. And it was so fun and so exciting because I was seeing real changes in my life. I was having real effects on my levels of happiness and my whole outlook.
MAYIM BIALIK'S Breakdown is supported by Element. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium, with none of the junk. There's no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto diet, a low-carb diet, a paleo diet. Electrolytes are extremely important, in case you haven't heard. They facilitate hundreds of functions in the body, including the conduction of nerve impulses, hormone regulation, nutrient absorption, and fluid balance. Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency that you may not even know are caused by electrolyte deficiency. Element is used by everyone from NBA, NFL, and NHL players to Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs to everyday moms and dads, and exercise enthusiasts. So when you sweat, the primary electrolyte that you lose is sodium, and athletes can lose up to 7 grams per day. If you don't replace that sodium, you can get muscle cramps, fatigue, all these other things. Element is terrific, especially when I'm working out, to help me replenish those electrolytes the quick and easy way, and using it regularly means I don't have all the problems you have if your electrolytes are out of balance if you keep using Element. Right now, Element is offering our listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single-serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors or share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Mayim. This deal is only available through my link. You have to go to DRINK LMNT.com/Mayim, MAYIM. Element offers no questions asked refunds. Try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, share it with a salty friend and they'll give you your money back. No questions asked. You have nothing to lose.
Music would be my number 2 career. My number 1 career would be learning how to be happy. As a musician, I decided my number 1 goal would be an artist. I would choose art over fame. And so I kept making decisions every day based on, is this good for art? Not necessarily what would make me rich or famous. And that's good, right? You need little North Stars to navigate and create a hierarchical decision-making process. I had been approaching my healing from this vantage point of I'm broken and I need to fix myself. That's a terrible psychological stance because you actually think your nature's broken. Something's wrong with your nature. You're broken. A soul isn't a teacup. Like whatever this is, my observer can't be broken. It can only be buried. And what my life had done was bury me under so many layers of heartbreak and trauma and betrayal and pain that I, again, forgot my own value. And so what if I started approaching my healing as something wasn't wrong with me, something was right with me? And when I learned to make anxiety my ally, I don't have anxiety because something's wrong with me. I have anxiety because my body is trying to communicate that I just participated in something that does not agree with me. I had a lot of, I dare say brainwashing, right? So I had to figure out what were my thoughts and what were thoughts that I had learned to think were mine. And in a weird way, that's all anxiety and trauma is, right? We learn to have thoughts that make us sick. We start to engage in activities that make us sick, and our anxiety is our body's way, like a car alarm of saying somebody's trying to break in. Anxiety was like my best friend. And when I learned to make it my best friend so that when I had it, I went, wait, what was I just thinking? And I would write it down and I would go, am I willing to stop engaging in that thought? And what thought would I replace it with? I had my own map. I had my own map to my own healing, to my own authenticity, because my anxiety let me know when I was participating in something inauthentic. I had a really intense relationship with nature from a very young age. That was, I would call it a parent that raised me. I really think nature saved my life on multiple occasions. I think had I not had the beauty of the nature that I was raised in, nature taught me almost everything I know. It was by being very observant and very quiet and watching nature that gave me a lot of my most profound insights and an experience of love. If anybody listening is struggling, I would just really encourage you to find that fighting spirit. Refuse to die without figuring out how to be happy. It's absolutely within your ability to figure this out. There's a lot of great resources. When I look back at my life, I thought, I don't know, maybe my music might be my talent, or the thing that might save me would be my hypervigilance or my curiosity. The thing that actually was my greatest asset was willingness. And I'm willing to keep going. I'm willing to try. And if that's the only mantra you can cling to, it's a mighty one. Just continue to be willing, and things have to change because the entire universe culminates in change. So we're not the only things that live outside of that if we just keep going.
Thank you for joining us for this very special Thursday episode of MAYIM BIALIK'S BREAKDOwn.
If you like what you hear, please rate us, review us, and make sure to follow us on Instagram at Bialik Breakdown to tell us your favorite parts of this episode. From our breakdown to the one we hope you never have.
We'll see you next time.
It's MAYIM BIALIK'S breakdown. She's gonna break it down for you because she knows a thing or two. So now she's gonna break down